What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 11, and today we're going to talk about left field and our rankings for the 2022 fantasy baseball season. We promised you guys a CBA episode. It's coming. Let's worry about it when we get there. Right now, we're going to talk left field, and with me this week, the only Yankee fan that'll ever appear on this show, Mike Haber. Mike, how you feeling tonight, Mike?
Doing pretty well, Joe. Thanks for asking. I'm super excited to be here and really excited to talk to you guys about left fields because I had a horrible time putting this list together.
This was a pretty difficult position to rank. There's not the upper echelon of guys. And Jason Ashby from Denver, Colorado, how did you feel putting this list together?
It was a struggle. It was definitely a struggle. There's lots of talent, lots of guys, lots of names, and I literally had to stop because if I kept going, I would have tinkered it 100 more times. Mm-hmm. It was really, really difficult.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. And the aggregate will show it as well, that we are kind of all over the map on a lot of guys. Very few did we all agree on anywhere in the same realm. There's guys at the top of one of our lists or at the bottom of both of the other guys. It's ridiculous what's all over the place. Let's dive right into this thing. We don't even have an agreed upon number one guy because the top guy in the aggregate at a 2.3 is my number 2, is Jason's number 2, and is Mike's number 3. It's Yordan Alvarez. Now, none of us have him at 1, but he's the best guy. So, Jason Ashby, what would somebody have to do to get ahead of your number 1 without revealing who your number 1 is? What would Yordan Alvarez have to do to get above him?
I want to see it for one more full season because 2020 he played 2 games, and in 2019 he played 87 games. Rookie of the year, it was fantastic, and 2021 he had a fantastic season. I want to see it one more time to prove that he is the guy in left field because right now, there, like you're saying, there is no the guy in left field. There's the guys in all these other positions, in baseball, but there is no the left fielder. And we're seeing it right now because none of us can agree upon one top dude.
Right, and I mean he had a really nice season in 2021. Was finally healthy. Mike Haber, is it the knees that have you concerned? I mean, after this season and. Does the fact that he DHs more than he'll play the field help him?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'd like to see him cut down on that strikeout rate a bit. The 2 surgically repaired knees are definitely a concern for me. The Astros are not getting better. They're getting probably slightly less scary.
Would it help if Correa came back?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Enough to move him up, or
I'd have to see how my 1 and 2. I'd have to see how my 1 and 2 react to about the next season. I don't think that I would push Yordan above the 2 of them at this point.
Okay, very well. We're gonna move on. I mean, for me, Alvarez to me is the pinnacle of a great left-handed bat that you have to have on your team. And the fact that he plays a really weak position like left field, that automatically gets him where he is on my list. I mean, we all sort of agree that he's a great option to have. Would you take him in the top 25, Jason Ashby?
That's in the second round? Yeah. I could see that.
Would he be your early second round pick?
I could see that.
Okay.
Yeah, because he.
Pair him with a pitcher like DeGrom or.
Yeah,
Cole,
I mean the key for him obviously is going to be health, but there's enough. We talked about this position being shallow, but there is enough depth in it that you can find a guy later in the draft that if you draft Alvarez and he's out for half the year, you can mitigate that with one of these other guys later on down the draft.
Gotcha. And Mike Haber, I have to ask you this one. I just forgot what it was, so bear with me a moment here. With Yordan Alvarez, how many other eligible outfield players would you draft before you took Yordan Alvarez if he's in fact our number 1, for the sake of argument? right? Forget what your 1 and 2 are for a minute.
Okay.
Juan Soto.
Trout.
Mike Trout. And if Mike Trout gets left field eligibility, we've all agreed that he's number 1 with a bullet. We'll move on. Bryce Harper.
Bryce Harper.
Ronald Acuna.
Acuna.
Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts.
Aaron Judge.
Yes.
Luis Robert.
I don't know if I would take Luis Robert.
So that's the line. Nick Castellanos.
No.
Starling
The only
Marte.
other Starling Marte and Kyle Tucker for me are like, kind of all in the same line as Yordan Alvarez at this point.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's move on. Number 2, we have. He is my number 1, guys. I love this dude, and I hope to draft him in 2022. Jason, he's your number 3. Mike, your number 4. It's Eloy Jimenez. I love me some Eloy Jimenez. I love that lineup. I thought that 2021 was going to be the year that we would see him absolutely explode. And then he got injured in spring training, and okay, we have to wait 1 more. I think we can see numbers very similar to what Jose Abreu has put up over the last 5 years. 300 batting average, 30 homers, 100 RBIs. You're telling me that Eloy Jimenez can't do that? I most certainly think he can. And if you guys are down on him like this, I'm going to have a lot of Eloy Jimenez in 2022. Jason, you are at 3 with Eloy. How does he get above, let's say, Yordan Alvarez?
Have a healthy season, and put up the numbers that we know he's capable of doing. I just need to see it. Because again, he only played 55 games this year. And 55 games, he batted 249 with a 303 on base. So it wasn't like out of this world, when he came back. So I need to see a full season of him with a 300 batting average, or something to prove to me that he is a legitimate slugger in this league.
Mike Haber, same question to you here. You've got him at 4. How does he get above Yordan Alvarez? Does the lack of protection in the Astros lineup all of a sudden start to make you think that you might lean Eloy?
Yeah, just like Jason said, I need to see a little bit more of him. In the 2020 season, he had 213 at-bats. In the 2021 season, he had 213 at-bats. And his numbers are actually pretty comparable to each other in the 2 seasons. The only difference is the drop in batting average and on base. So I want to see a full... I mean, this is a guy who is like one of the highest touted prospects coming up, but we still haven't seen it. So right. I want to see it once for
the best we've seen is 2019 with 31 homers, which is great.
Right.
But
was that a 2019 season?
Yeah,
right.
3 years ago.
So,
yeah,
and it's also 3 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
All right, we shall move on to number 4 in our aggregate, number 3 in our aggregate. He clocks in with a 3.6. He's my number 4. Mike, your number 5. Jason Ashby is the high man on this one. This is his number 1. It's Teoscar Hernandez.
Wow.
Jason, you tell us all about Teoscar Hernandez.
Yeah, and I spent a great deal of time. It was between him and Yordan. One of them was going to be 1, and one of them was going to be 2. But the batting average for Teoscar Hernandez really kind of sold me, and the steals, the double-digit steals for Teoscar, kind of sold me on him. I mean, that Blue Jays lineup, even without Marcus Semien, that Blue Jays lineup is ridiculous. The numbers that Teoscar Hernandez put up this year were incredible. And he still finished 19th in the MVP voting. Like, I was shocked to see that. I would have thought that 32 home runs, 116 RBIs, 296 average, a 346 on base would get you top
12
10.
steals.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about the guy is his strikeout rate, and even that's not terrible. 148 strikeouts in 143 games. That's
in this day and age,
that's not horrible.
Decent. That's decent.
Not horrible.
So, I'm all about Teoscar Hernandez.
Mike Haber, he hasn't done this for a full season before this.
Right.
So when we sit here and we talk about guys that you need to see more of, isn't this to me a guy that you need to see more of?
Before he propels himself higher than he is on my rankings, yes. I need to see this again. But this is a guy, I don't know if you guys feel the same way. Like, this guy kind of came out of nowhere, kind of came out of left field. Like, and like, he just
I
sort
hate
of
that you
like,
did that. I hate that it took me that long to hear it.
and I didn't
That's
laugh,
going
I
on
just
TikTok. Anyway.
exhaled. But he like he was really bad and he didn't have playing time, and then boom, one season he was just like the starting outfielder. Like, it's almost like I don't believe it. I don't believe that this is his job. Like, he could still lose it, in my
What's
opinion.
crazy about this is that I felt the same way, like exactly what you're talking about. I felt the same way about Jose Bautista.
Yeah.
What if this is Jose Bautista?
But I mean, look, 2020 being what it was, he still put up great numbers: 16 home runs,
He put up
34
great
RBIs,
numbers in 2020,
and he finished 11th in the MVP voting. In 2020, again being that what it was, and he hit 26 home runs in 2019, 22 in 2018. So it's not a far fetch to see that he actually can slug in this league.
The almost 60 points jump in batting average from 2019 to 2020, and then another 7 points on top of it in 2021 is impressive.
He's on a better team now than he was in 2018, 2019. So yeah, I think he could be the real deal. He's in his prime. He's 29.
I'm just taking a look here at his Savant page. I want to know a couple of deeper things about him. Man, 96th percentile in exit velocity, 88th percentile in hard hit percentage, 87 percentile in barrel percentage. His sprint speed is pretty nice too. Like
it's possible this guy just figured it out. Like,
it is.
Later,
and
a little later in his career. But
what was his BABIP? Like,
his BABIP was 352.
That's really high. That's really, really high. But it makes sense if he's hitting the ball this hard. Like, his average, his exit velocity was 91.8, and his max exit was 115. Like, this dude is crushing the ball. Yeah. I like it. Yeah. I'm going to put him ahead of my number 4. I'm going to move him up right now in real time. He's now inside the top 3 for me and in left field, but I still have him behind guys without left field eligibility: Kyle Tucker, Nick Castellanos, Starling Marte, Luis Robert. Would you put him in front of any of those guys?
I would. I think I would. I certainly wouldn't put him above the Sotos and the Harpers and the Cunas, but
right, he doesn't go to the top tier.
No, but
there's definitely this second tier of outfielders where
I'd have to
all
look
of these
more.
guys
I'd have to look more into it, but off the top of my head, there is definitely some guys in that list that I would put him above.
Mike Haber, Kyle Tucker, Nick Castellanos, Starling Marte, Luis Robert, and Teoscar Hernandez.
I think I could put him above. Wait, who's the second name you said?
Tucker, Castellanos, Marte, and Robert.
I think I'd put him above Castellanos at this point.
I think I'm with you on that.
I think it's like these tiers are at this point, like, we're looking for someone that can give us everything.
Okay.
Someone that's ranked this high, And I think that Castellanos is kind of a he's a
kind of
power
depends
guy,
on where he lands in free agency too, and that could alter it, but
yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. All right, let's move on to the next guy here. And he checks in with a 5.3. Now, we just had a 3.6, a 2.6, and a 2.3, and all of a sudden we're jumping to 5. So this is where things start to go a little crazy because Mike Haber has this guy as his number 1 guy. I have him as number 10. Jason has him at number 4. I'm the lowest guy on this guy, and I owned him this year, Brian Reynolds. Mike Haber, I'll give you the floor for Brian Reynolds and why there was such a man crush on my player.
First of all, I'm shocked that you don't have him in the top 5 after what he did for you this past season. Speaking of a guy that does a little bit of everything, and the argument against him would be that he plays on a terrible Pirates team. But look what he just did on a terrible Pirates team. He he put together an incredible season. He not only he doesn't have a ton of speed, doesn't steal a lot of bases, but I could see him creeping up a little bit. He's getting stronger, he's getting faster. He had 8 triples last season, 35 doubles. I could see some of those balls into the gap. I could see those going over the fence a little bit more. He's got Brian Hayes there.
Who did nothing.
Who did nothing.
Did nothing.
But again,
the best protection in that lineup was Colin Moran.
Yeah.
Who's now a free agent because they just flat out released him.
Okay, but look at someone like Juan Soto, who had 0. I don't mean to compare Brian Reynolds and Juan Soto, but Soto had 0 protection in that Nationals lineup besides Josh Bell. And
even Josh Bell is a hell of a lot better than anybody in that Pirates lineup.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
By leaps and bounds. Josh Bell was in that lineup as recently as last year.
Yeah.
And it was a better team.
That's true. I agree with that. But this is a guy who you can count on for getting on base 2-3 times a game. And he's going to score a lot of runs. He's going to.
He scored 93 runs in 2021 in 159 games, which is nice. It's absolutely nice. I just don't see who's now going to be driving him in. Is it Yoshi Tsutsugo? I would rather have Josh Bell. If I'm being honest, I would rather have Josh Bell.
No, I could see an argument against him being the top left fielder 100%. But this dude pushed 400 with his on base percentage. I could see him doing that again. And I could see him leading the league in triples. I could see him scoring a lot of runs and getting doubles. And yeah, I could see him doing a little bit of everything and getting on base and hitting for average. So that's where I'm at.
All right. Hey, love you some Pirates. It's interesting. When I saw it that he was above Alvarez and Jimenez, and now Hernandez, who probably, I feel like those guys are pretty close to the 1-2. And you have him 3, 4, 5 behind this guy and someone else we'll talk about. I don't know if I could get in on that. Are you telling me that you would pay a top 25 price for Brian Reynolds in 2020?
I think it depends who I draft first.
Okay.
If I get a hardcore power bat first, I could see myself drafting Brian Reynolds in the second round.
Okay. So now here's the same question that I'll ask you that we were talking about when we talked about my first overall and Jason's first overall. How many other players that have outfield eligibility but not left field would you draft before them? I'm going to assume the top 5 are off the board: Soto, Trout, Harper, Acuna, and Betts. They're gone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Luis Robert.
I don't know if I have Robert ranked as high up as you do, but
fair. Starling Marte.
No, I'd take Marte.
Nick Castellanos.
I think I'd take Reynolds over Castellanos.
Okay. And Kyle Tucker.
Kyle Tucker I'd probably take before Reynolds.
I'm just going to finish out this stack that I have here. Whit Merrifield.
Oh, come on. You know how I feel about Whit.
I know.
No, I would probably take Whit before Brian Reynolds.
Cedric Mullins.
Oh, you know how I feel about Cedric Mullins.
Yeah.
And I would probably take, honestly, Cedric Mullins at this point over Reynolds.
George Springer.
That's where it gets dicey for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's where I draw the line.
Fair enough. All right.
I stick by it, guys. I stick by it.
Jason, you have him at 4. You're pretty high on him. You like this Pirates lineup enough to enjoy some Brian Reynolds in 22?
I at one point I had him at, I think, as low as 11. But Mike did kind of sell me on the idea that he did. I didn't even realize he drove in 90 runs and scored 90 runs on a shitty Pirates team.
Yeah.
They're gonna be just as shitty this year, but so why can't he do that again? Right. So what? But I mean, how much worse can worse be? He has the talent to do it. My question is going to be, where is he batting? because he most of his games he batted third last year.
Yeah.
So is that where he's batting? Is that gonna hit him lead off? Like where are they batting him in the lineup? Because I think that could dictate kind of where he is in the rankings.
Right now, Roster Resource has him batting third. Brian Hayes, Yoshi Tsutsugo, him, and then the ultimate protection piece. I know I want this guy hitting behind my first overall fucking left fielder, Ben Gamble. Mike Haber, you can't possibly be serious. All right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on before I have. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
We're gonna move on. 5.6 is the next guy. He's actually tied. There's two guys here. I will give it to the guy who has the highest overall ranking in somebody's list here. So Mike Haber, this is your number 2. I have him at 7. Jason, you have him at 8. It's Jesse Winker. You really like shitty NL Central teams, don't you, Mike Haber?
Yeah, I do. I love them. I love shitty NL Central teams. That's why I picked these left fielders. Right. No, I feel great about Jesse Winker. I think Jesse Winker is an up and coming star, and he was on the way to becoming that. And then he dealt with an injury. He barely got over 400 at bats, and still hit 24 homers and 71 RBIs. And yeah, the team got a little worse. I agree, a little worse. A lot. The team got worse.
Yeah.
But again, I think you look at a left field position and what do you value from a left fielder? I want someone who's going to get on base, who's going to hit for a high average, someone who can draw walks and who can hit for some power. And Jesse Winker does all of those things. And would I draft him in
top 25?
The end of the second round? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Jason, you and I have him at 7 and 8. I don't think we're going to be having any Jesse Winker this year if Mike Haber's this high on him.
Winking then.
Yeah, if he's taking him to the back end of the second, I can't touch that, right?
For me, he had a good 2021 season. That also came out of nowhere. He's never hit above 300 before. So show me it again in a worse Reds lineup, and then we'll talk. But I mean, he's great, and I know Ben reaped the benefits from him, for the majority of the season. I just don't think that he's above, some of the other guys that I have.
Jesse Winker or Mitch Haniger, Jason?
Oof. That's a good one. I'm gonna go Haniger. I think he's got more power, and I do like the Mariners lineup. So I think I'm going Haniger.
I'm just going to assume you're taking Winker there.
Yes.
Jesse Winker or Nick Castellanos?
You asking me or Jason?
You. I want to see how high up this ladder you go with him compared to other outfielders.
I think he may have a better year than Castellanos this year. I would take him.
Kyle Tucker? I know you're really high on Tucker.
No, I would take Tucker.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Look, the Reds aren't going to be good. They're probably going to trade off a pitcher. Just not. Votto's another year older. You guys are slurping Jonathan India, and this is the number 2 guy in their lineup. So it is okay. I gotta see it for a full season. This dude hasn't played a full season ever. He's never played more than 113 games. I gotta see him put in 150. This much. We'll move on. Our next one. There's another jump here. So we just talked. Oh wait, no, another 5.6 guy tied with Jesse Winker, but he's my number 3. Well, I guess now he's number 4 because I moved him below Teoscar Hernandez. Jason, he's your number 5. Mike, he's your number 10, and you owned him this year. It's JD Martinez. What didn't you see?
I saw him start to taper off a bit. He's still aging. I'm not convinced he can sustain it again for another full season. I think that his skills are dwindling. I think he is probably injury prone at this point. I mean, hey, I still have him in my top 10. I still think he's a quality batter in an awesome lineup. But the 2020 season scared me a little bit. I took a risk this year and drafted him, and he
He
had
paid
a
off.
great first half.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely paid off.
Led the
did he
league in
show up-
doubles, had a 350 on base percentage. Like, he was pretty good.
Yeah.
He's pretty good.
Did he show up when I needed him? No. But
No, because
okay.
he tailed off in the second half and hit.
Yeah.
But you know
Instead
what?
of hitting
Like,
299 in the first half like he did, he hit 278. No, sorry, 268.
Yeah.
Jason,
but
what do you got on him?
well, I think this might be the last year we're talking about him as an outfielder, because there's no reason for the Red Sox to be playing him in the outfield when you got guys like Verdugo that just got Jackie Bradley back. Like, there's no reason for them to be putting him in the outfield. So hopefully that keeps him fresher and lets him have, stay healthier for the duration of the season. He did play 148 games, so it's not like
That was one thing.
missed
I don't quite understand, Mike, where you're saying that he's injury prone. 148 this year, 146 in 2019, 150 in 2018, and 54 out of 60 in 2020.
I don't think he's historically injury prone. I'm saying, given his age and given, what they ask him to do in that lineup every day, I could see him sustaining a serious injury.
Okay.
But couldn't he be like a Nelson Cruz? Yeah. If he's just DHing, why couldn't he be?
He's
a
Dave
guy...
Ortiz at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm still pretty high on him.
Okay.
I am too. I think I like where I have him sitting at 4th. Let's do the same exercise we just did. Mike Haber, JD Martinez, or Mitch Haniger?
JD.
JD or George Springer?
Springer.
And one more, Cedric Mullins.
Cedric Mullins.
Okay. Jason, Mitch Haniger or JD Martinez?
Haniger, see, I don't know if he's going to have center field and right field. I don't know what his eligibility is.
Right now, he's just right field. JD
just
Martinez
right field.
would be just left field.
I think he has right field too.
Let's take it. Continue.
He's
he
maybe not.
does have right field.
Yeah. He's got 7 starts.
7 starts.
But I probably would give JD the edge. Yeah.
Okay. Him or Cedric Mullins?
JD.
Kyle Tucker.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. I would go with Tucker. Yeah.
Okay. Moving on, the next guy in our list here. It's another jump. It's another tier bump here. We dropped 4 points altogether. We have 2 more guys tied at the same aggregate score at 9.6, and they have the same high number of 6th for some of us. So I'm going to give it to the guy who is actually 6th in 2 of our rankings. He is my number 6. Jason, he is your number 6. Mike Haber, you have him at 17. What's wrong with Kyle Schwarber?
Wow, you have him at 6?
6. I love it. And if he goes back to Boston, I'm all over this. I really think he figured something out, dude. He was on a tear with the Nationals when he started batting leadoff, and then goes to Boston and is even better. He hit 291 in Boston.
Let me just say, because if the rumors happen, if he goes to Philadelphia, I think he could have some big games there.
That's interesting.
Interesting. He'd have to play left
that lineup.
He'd have to play left field, or you put Reed Hoskins in left field.
Well, there's going to be a DH in it. NLDH, bro.
Yeah. So fuck it. Yeah, if he's in Philadelphia, as a Met fan, I'd love for him to go back to Boston. But if he goes to Philadelphia, look out.
You talk about dudes with on base percentage, Mike Haber, and he had 64 walks in 399 at bats. He had a 374 on base percentage. I don't know why you don't like this guy.
I don't buy it yet. I mean, he was a guy that the Cubs were waiting on for so long, and he never really came to fruition. And then he got a change of scenery, which was nice, but like this was a guy that was hitting 211, 238, 250, 188. Like this is the first year
He
that
only
this
hit
guy hit.
266. Like this is a marginal improvement.
And that's not what I'm looking for a left fielder. I'm not looking for a
let's for the sake
250
of
average.
okay, I get that. Okay, I can understand that. That's what I'm more like. A 375 on base percentage, though, that's enormous.
Yeah.
And if that's
nice.
real, which it seems to be, he's always been a guy who takes a good amount of walks, regardless of what he's hitting. With 30 home runs and 100 RBIs, I think I'm in. Now, I can't guarantee 100 RBIs because I don't know if I can give him help. You know what? I have him ranked right next to Franmil Reyes. How do you guys feel about that?
That's pretty comparable for
Okay.
me. I could see that. But
Okay.
but would you take Kyle Schwarber in the 3rd round of a Bigs draft?
No.
For me, it depends on where he ends up.
And who's your number 5 in the left field?
Mine is Bryant. Is Bryant Reynolds.
Yeah, it was.
And Joe, who's yours?
Number 5, we haven't touched on yet.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
We haven't touched on him yet.
Okay.
And that's going to be an conversation.
Okay.
The next guy on the list is tied with Kyle Schwarber to 9.6. Mike, this is your number 6. Jason, your number 9. Guys, I have him at 14. It's Tyler O'Neill. Calm down. What is it about Tyler O'Neill that you can put at 6 there, Mike Haber?
Calm down.
Yes,
this guy.
Calm down.
This guy. He had an amazing 2021 season. 34 homers, 80 RBIs, 15 steals. You're talking about a guy that can push for 40 home runs and steal 15 bags. And he hit 286 and 352 average. This is a guy on base. This is a guy that is the afterthought in that Cardinals lineup. This is the guy that reaps the benefits of Arenado, Goldschmidt, Edman, Dylan Carlson, all hitting before him, getting on base. There's nothing I don't like about this guy except his strikeout rate. And I think that with age, his walks are going to go up and his strikeouts are going to come down. I could see him having a huge season this year.
Jason, how are you feeling about Tyler O'Neill?
Yeah, I'm with Mike here. I think he absolutely could have a huge season. I just have him a little lower down because it's just been the one season. I do want to see it again. He was terrible in 2020, which, okay, it's 2020, but like he wasn't anything great before that. Now he's getting a chance to play, so maybe he's something real. I just want to see it. But he certainly has the skills and the tools to be a monster in that lineup.
I get it. The strikeouts are pretty ugly. What was his bad
in this year, in this day and age, like strikeouts are going to be ugly from everybody. Like
That's true.
You know, so
his sprint speed's really good. His hard hit percentage was really nice. His exit velocity is exactly what I looked for.
BABIP was 366.
Oh my God, that's so high. That's so high. Oh my goodness. I don't like it. I don't like the makeup of this. Because I feel like this dude could plummet to earth and hit 220 next year. Like, he's the guy they have to pitch to in that lineup, right? Because, like, if you're going to pitch around Arenado and Goldschmidt, this is the guy, right? He's the one who reaps the benefits. But this is also the guy you attack in that lineup. So he's going to see the pitcher's best fucking pitches. So
right over the plate, yeah.
Okay.
No, like you're saying that if the bases are filled up because they're not going to pitch to the rest of this lineup, this guy has to see strikes.
Yeah. Okay, they've got Roster Resource has him slated in 3rd between Goldschmidt and Arenado.
Interesting.
That intrigues me a bit more. I
don't know why you would split Goldschmidt and Arenado, but I guess
well, it's 3 right-handed bats, no matter how you do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't. Him or Byron Buxton.
I take O'Neill.
I think I take O'Neill too.
Okay, I do have him above that guy. Mitch Haniger.
O'Neill.
Yeah, the potential for O'Neill is really high for me. I haven't looked at Haniger's numbers, but I probably would lean towards O'Neill.
Okay, I have those two guys 9 apart with 7 left field eligible guys between them.
Oh,
yeah. So, we'll obviously get to it then. The only other not left field eligible guy is Cody Bellinger or Tyler O'Neill.
Oh, I hands down take Tyler O'Neill.
Same.
Interesting. I might be too high
on
Bellinger.
And I probably take on. I'm looking at Haniger's numbers now finally, and I think the steals is what does it for me for O'Neill. The steal potential.
I got you.
Is what edges me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the next guy. We have him as an aggregate of 10. We're all pretty close on this guy. Mike, he's your 8. Jason, your 10. He's my 12. It's Randy Arozarena, the reigning AL Rookie of the Year. I think this guy is pretty safe for 2020 with an upside of 30-30 with a decent batting average, decent on-base percentage. And, I wouldn't mind having him my left fielder. Mike Haber, you're the one facing him all the time. And he's a Ray, so I know you hate him already, but Randy Arozarena, you're the high guy on him.
Yeah. No, it's that power speed combo that it's tantalizing for a left fielder at such a thin position. And, if I'm looking for a guy that's going to give me a little bit of everything at this position, Arozarena is one of a handful. That's it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's great. And you know what? He's going to have dual eligibility. He'll have right field as well. So that's certainly a nice plus to have for this guy. Jason, I don't know that what round would you take Randy Arozarena in?
I don't know. 4 or 5 maybe. I'm
that's
not
where he went in 2021. He went in the 4th round.
He did, and maybe that's even a little aggressive for me because look, he had won the Rookie of the Year, a great 2021 season. He played only 23 games in 2020 and 19 in 2019. Everybody's remembering his postseason from 2020, and that's where he kind of springboarded. I just don't, yes, the power speed combination there is tantalizing. The Rays run like hell, so he's gonna have the green light. I'm not entirely sold on his ability, so I'm a little just suspect on him.
At what point, and I don't disagree with a lot of what you're saying, but at what point do we just give Rays players the benefit of the doubt when it comes to this? This is very much a Carl Crawford style player that has come up that they went out and got, and the dude's gonna hit in the middle of that lineup. Yeah. As it stands right now, Roster Resource has it as Brandon Lau, Wander Franco, Austin Meadows, Randy Arozarena. I think I could take that, and I'm the low guy on it. he's in this glob of guys that are all between, I think it's 8 to 15 that are all just smashed together, and I could probably just take any one of them and be happy. Rosarena is the speed upside guy. All right, the next one on our list is at a 10.6. I have him at 8. You guys both have him at 12. So again, it's still right in this middle of this mix. It's Giancarlo Stanton. Mike Haber, he's a Yankee. The floor is yours.
Very streaky hitter. There was a time last year where I was offered Giancarlo Stanton in a trade for Akil Baddoo. And at the time, I was offered that trade. At the time, my response was, are you kidding me right now? You really want to do that? And the trade didn't go through. We couldn't make it work or whatever. But the fact that there was a time this season where he was comparable to Akil Baddoo because he was so cold. He was so streaky. The manager who wanted to trade him was desperate to get rid of this player, desperate to get Stanton off of his team. And yeah, he went on some hot streak at the end of the year to bring his numbers up, but there was a time when we were unsure if he would even reach 30 home runs. And this was a guy that's supposed to hit like 50 in the Bronx. So,
and he hit 35. He drove in 97. He hit 273. He has a 354 on base percentage. Like, the only question you ever have with Stanton, for the most part, is health.
yeah.
He's now played 159 games in 2017, 158 games in 2018, essentially 2 missed seasons, and now 139 games here. This is kind of reliable. And you're getting 30, you're getting close to 100 with a better batting average than I think people give Giancarlo Stanton credit for. Jason, you have him at 12.
Yeah.
How does he move up? What does this kind of reliable thing need to do?
Yeah, you're right, and you make a good point. And look, he's only 32. So if we're talking about like I kind of compare him to JD Martinez in a way, right? Where like there may be some thoughts of durability issues, aging, but he's right around that, and he put up very similar numbers to him this season. I don't know. I don't know if I can quantify what it is about Giancarlo Stanton. I just don't. I don't buy it. I feel like if I draft him, his arm's gonna fall off, and because that's Giancarlo Stanton.
That's the risk you run, and I was bit by it in 2019. I traded for Giancarlo Stanton in 2019, and I got bit by it.
Yep.
I actually had the option of either Stanton or Judge, and I took Stanton, and Judge went off and had a really great second half, and Stanton played like 8 games for me and finished the rest of the season on the injured list.
Can I ask you a question, Joe?
Sure.
Maybe it was a previous show and maybe I'm not remembering it correctly, but I remember us having a conversation and me saying, I don't remember who was it about. I think it was DJ LeMahieu. We were talking about DJ. And one of my arguments was he's got Judge and Stanton behind him, protecting him. And I think your response, I could be wrong, was how long are we going to support Stanton as a guy that can serve as protection for another hitter? Maybe I'm wrong, but I think
no. You're on balls. You're on.
Okay.
You're accurate. And the reason I say that is, again, going back to the exact same thing I was talking about, that the only question you have is health.
Mm-hmm.
We can sit here and argue about what numbers he'll put up, but at the end of the day, if he's healthy, you're going to get 30 homers. You're going to get 100 RBIs. You're going to get a better average than what he's given credit for.
Okay.
But holy shit, when he gets hurt, he's a nothing. He's literally nothing.
Right.
So that's the fear I have.
It's the classic high risk, high reward.
Exactly. And if you've built a stable roster that you can land him in the 5th round, do you do it?
Where did he go this year? Like, didn't he go like 8th or something?
Yeah, he was on the board for a while.
Mm. Yeah, that's a little early. I don't know.
I think people are going to be scared of him. I really do.
Him or Mitch Haniger. That's the measuring stick right now.
Yeah, another injured guy. But Mike, what do you say?
I'd probably take Stanton over Haniger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Him or Cody Bellinger.
I go with Stanton over Bellinger right now.
Me too.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. The next guy clocks in at a 13.3, and this is going to be one of those names that we're going to be talking about all season. We're going to be talking about this guy through spring training. We're going to be talking about this guy possibly being a comeback candidate, and I have him at number 5. Mike Haber, you have him at number 9. Jason Ashby, you have him at number 26. I think we're looking at a similar situation here with DJ LeMahieu, where a bad season simply tumbles this dude down your ranking. I really need you to explain to me what Christian Yelich has done to offend you. and why he's outside your top 25 left fielders in a position that's pretty shallow.
Yeah, like I definitely feel bad about where I have him. I just couldn't move him up. It's not one bad season; it's two bad seasons. And I know 2020 being what it was, but we're talking about a reigning MVP, guy. Like,
yeah, it's one bad season.
If you add the
two numbers together, it's one bad season. 117 games and 58 games. It's 170 something games.
He had trouble staying on the field. He hit 9 home runs this year. 9. I couldn't put him up against guys who hit 33 and 25 and 27. Like, I couldn't do it. Not going into 2022 season. I couldn't. When I see poor he went in the 16th overall, right? Last year,
end of the first round.
Yeah, and
coming off of a bad season, and yes, he has a back injury that he's obviously been struggling through. Mike Haber, you have him here. Where do you have him? It was like
9, I think.
9th. Okay, top 10.
Yeah.
What round would be too high to grab Yelich for you?
Definitely top 4 rounds would be too high for me. If Yelich is still there in the 5th round, I may take a gamble on him. This could be this year's JD Martinez, Chris Bryant pick for me.
That's exactly what I'm thinking this is.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think you're going to see the steals numbers like you did. You just don't. He's now 30 years old. Mm-hmm. I think this is where he starts to taper back on that. So 30 steals is out the window. Could you get 12?
Yes.
Would you give me 12? Fine. I'll take it. If you can give me close to a 300 batting average, I'm not expecting you to win batting titles again, but give me a 300 batting average. Give me close to a 400 on base percentage. Give me 25 homers. Give me 85 RBIs and 15 steals. And I think I can take that over guys that we've already talked about, like Randy Arozarena and Kyle Schwarber. I'm taking him over Jesse Winker.
For me, it's too distant of a memory that of what he was compared to what he's been. And
so we hold the 2020 season against him.
And 2021. He was not good in 2020.
He was hurt in 2021. 2019, he was the MVP. He was second in the MVP. He was tremendous. In 1100 OPS.
Yes, he was.
He was amazing.
I don't. Prove me wrong, Christian Yelich. Prove me wrong.
There you go. Yeah. Go prove Jason wrong. All right. Let's talk about the next guy here. Clocks in with a 12.6. He's my number 9. Jason, you're 16. Mike, you're 14. Austin Meadows. Same lineup as Randy Arozarena. Austin Meadows clocks in here and has a really, this is another guy. I could see drafting him and Randy Arozarena in back-to-back rounds, getting the outfield of the Rays, the middle of the Rays lineup, and covering your corner outfielders with it. Mike Haber, again, this is a guy you play a lot. So what do you see in him?
Yeah. He's a little confusing to me. He's a little all over the map. Like, his 2019 season was incredible, and we were hoping that that's the kind of, we would see that progress. But here he is, and obviously 2020 was what it was, but if we ignore 2020, he dropped 60 points in batting average. So he still hit 27 homers and 106 RBIs, and he's still going to drive in runs and score runs and hit doubles. But I don't like that batting average. That scares me a little bit. The batting average and on base. Yeah. And that's the kind of thing that scares me about these Rays hitters a little bit.
I just think you can get this so much later in the draft. This might be where I rank him, but you don't have to draft him ahead of, I don't know, Christian Yelich or anything like that in order to get there.
Right.
Jason.
Oh yeah.
How do you like Austin Meadows?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. If he's there in the in the early teens rounds, I'll take that. Mike is absolutely right. He's confusing to me. And look, we're in a group of guys in my rankings anyway, where you could just, again, throw them up in the air and they'll land in a different order, and that would be fine. So Austin Meadows, like if I'm comparing Austin Meadows to Rosario, like Rosario has that power speed combo that Meadows really doesn't have. He stole 12 bases in 2019, but only 4 this past season. I don't know what to make of him. The big drop in batting average on base scares me. But yeah, if he's there in the 12th, 13th round, absolutely I'd take him.
Austin Meadows right now, NFBC ADP of 129. That would put him in the 9th round. Mike Haber, you taking him there?
I can see myself taking him in the 9th round. It's probably a little bit early for me personally, but I could see him like. It depends on the makeup of my team at that point.
Sure. All right, moving on to the next guy, 13.6, just behind Christian Yelich and Meadows here. He's my number 13. Jason, you're number 21. Mike, you're closer to me with number 11. Ryan Mountcastle doesn't do it for you, does he, Jason?
I admit maybe he's a little bit further down than he should be, but I need to see it over, one more time over the full season. It's funny because like it kind of has the Brian Reynolds treatment, right? Of being in a shitty Orioles lineup, and he did well in a shitty Orioles lineup. So can he do it again? A little bit more one-dimensional to me. With just the power. But he to me he's kind of. I mean, I know I have him further down in the rankings, but he's kind of like that Austin Meadows type for me, where it's like, yeah, if he's around in the early teens, I'll take a flyer on him, but I don't know if I believe in him just yet.
He is currently going 113th in NFBC through 39 drafts. That puts him in the 8th round for our league. Mike Haber, I know you like this guy. Would you take him in the 8th?
I don't know if I would take him that high. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think I would take him in the 8th round, but
okay,
it'd be close. I would say 9th or 10th, but this is a guy who, if you need someone for pure power, yeah, 100% grab him. This is like a Franmil Reyes to me.
Okay.
Probably like the poor man's.
I think that's
Franmil
where I grabbed Franmil this past year. It was either the 8th or the 7th or the 9th round, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That feels like a good bat to put in your lineup. The next guy we're going to talk about is one of the largest swaths that we have, guys. 17.3 is the overall aggregate. He actually ties with the next guy, but because he has the highest ranking at number 7 for Jason, number 28 for Mike, and number 17 for me. Chris Bryant. I don't know where I want to go first with this, whether it's Mike having him outside the top 25 or Jason in the top 10. I don't know which way I want to go. All right, let's hear the good. Jason, tell me why he's your number 7.
I still believe in him. I know he's had some down years. We don't know where he's going to go. Is it going to be the Mets? I don't know. But he's 30. He kind of picked it up a little bit with San Francisco, towards the stretch run. The versatility is still there. I still think he can put up 30 home runs, and even if it's another 265, fine. I think people are failing on him, kind of like I don't know.
If he goes back to the Giants, do you like it?
Yeah, I like him there.
Okay, Mike Haber.
I really don't think that. I don't think there's anywhere I don't like him.
Okay, fair enough. Mike Haber, you have him at 28. You owned this guy too.
Mm-hmm. He barely made my top 30, honestly. Without his first 2 months of the season, this guy would have been pure crap as where I drafted him. He didn't do anything for me in the second half. His batting average is not good. If he stays in San Francisco, I could see him resting a lot for players like Brandon Belt, for players like the Giants do, where they have this rotating door of players that are going to give him some rest, like they did towards the tail end of the season
Mhm.
because he started to get tired. He's an average mediocre player to me, and that's how I'm going to continue to see him after this past season.
Interesting. Average, mediocre Chris, former MVP, former Rookie of the Year. I will say he hit over 280 4 months out of the season. 322 in March and April, 327 in May, 290 in July, 281 in August, 245 in September. That's not good. 114 in June pulls his average down like that. So, okay, he was really atrocious for 1 month out of the season.
So that's just his batting average, right?
Yeah. On base percentage was always over 350 except for that month. He only had 1 home run in September, but everything he had 3 or more in a month. I can give you the RBI total as like if he didn't have those first 2 months, he would have been dog shit. 19 RBIs in April, 17 in May, no more than 13 in a month after that. So that's where I think he tailed off for you. He in the second half, he hit 257 with an equal on base percentage, 9 homers, 27 RBIs. Yeah, the power went to sleep. That I can understand. On the NFBC ADP, he is going 89th. That is the 6th round in the bigs. Jason, how do you feel about the 6th round for Chris Bryant?
Again, I'd have to see how my team is and who else is around, but that might be a little early. I'll give you that.
Really?
That might be a little early. Yeah. But I would at least be considering it.
Over or under 15th round for Mike Haber?
He won't be there, but
right.
if he's there, I'll take him. I'll take him 14th round. Sure.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Moving on. This guy actually ties with him. We had to add him in late because me, forgot him in the rankings. 15th overall for me, Jason 11th, Mike 26th, Brandon Lau, another outfielder for the Tampa Bay Rays. Although I don't think I need to go over this guy. We covered him in the second base ranking. Mike Haber hates him. Jason sort of likes him. I think it's somewhere in the middle. We're going to move on.
Thank you for that, Joe.
Mike, I'm going to give you the floor on this next guy. He comes in with a 20 overall aggregate. I have him at 29. Jason has him at 24. You have him at 7. Talk to me about Marcelo Zuna.
Okay. First I'll talk about his baseball stats, and then get into the next part. But sure. This is a guy who absolutely raked in 2020. MVP quality season. And in 2019 he had a good season. 2018 a good season. 2017 a great season. If he's going back to, he is going back to Atlanta. Yes.
Yeah. He's signed on the Braves team through the end of the 2025 season.
Right.
They can't just get out of this.
So if this guy returns to form and let's say he hits 30 home runs and 85, 90 RBIs and hits somewhere in the 280s, like for me that's top 10 for a left fielder. And I could see him, if Freddie Freeman returns to Atlanta, I could see Ozuna breaking 100 RBIs. I could see him getting up to close to 100 runs and hitting for a decent average and getting on base. I could see all of that returning. But that's just his baseball stats. I don't know do you want me to keep going here?
Tell me about Marcelo Zuna.
I don't think this guy belongs in baseball anymore. I don't think he belongs on a professional sports team. I don't think he belongs in the eye of the public. As an educator, as a teacher, it like pains me to imagine students looking up to this player. the fact that there's an actual video footage of him with his hands around his girlfriend or wife, whatever, around her throat. It like sickens me to my core that exists, and that this guy served his suspension and he's just back. He's back for a full season of baseball, and he didn't spend time in prison, did he? Maybe a little bit.
I don't know.
I don't know either. He deserved to if he didn't. But the fact that there are kids out there that are huge Atlanta fans, they just watched their team win a World Series, and now their fan base is growing because of that. And next year, kids are going to be looking up to this player hitting home runs and trying to emulate Marcelo Zuna. And I think it's disgusting. I think there needs to be a clause in these players' contracts these days that if you commit any crimes like this, where you're going to abuse a woman, you're going to abuse a family member, a girlfriend, anyone, there should be an out clause in that contract. And the fact that there's not is proof that, the system is a little bit flawed in how it's constructed, and that these players that the owners care more about their team's success than what it looks like and what's actually right and wrong. So that's all I'm going to say about it.
All right. Those things you bring up are things that would need to be collectively bargained, especially an out clause on a contract. And there's not a union in the world that would sign up to allow ownership to void any contracts. It's just not going to happen.
No.
All of that being said, I agree with everything you said about Marcelo Zuna as a person. And until I see him on a baseball field again, I'm just going to keep him low in my rankings. Right now, NFBC average has him going 315th. That's middle of the 20th round in the bigs. Obviously, I think someone, Mike Haber, would take that opportunity. Well,
the other thing.
Sorry, Jason. One thing. Just because I have him ranked where I have him, I don't think I'll ever have him on my actual fantasy team.
And I wonder how many people would feel that way and how far he would fall.
Right.
Jason.
Yeah, and the thing to remember also is, from a baseball standpoint, he also was injured. Like, he broke two fingers or something like that. So, I don't from a baseball standpoint, I don't know how to rank him because I don't know what his health is. I don't know, if he returns to form, yes, that lineup is freaking scary with Acuna and Riley and Albies, and if Freeman returns, that lineup is ridiculous. I just don't know if he's going to be able to return to form and if we should care.
Right. And that's ultimately what it is. A lot of Marcelo Zuna is a moral standpoint.
Yeah.
How low are you willing to take? How high are you willing to take him where you don't feel bad about yourself?
There are, for me, there are plenty of other fish in this sea that.
And there are people who will have that.
Yeah.
There are people who will have that sense.
I let him go by, and
if he's there in the 20th round, I'll probably take him. Like, at that point, the reward is worth the self-loathing, and flags fly forever. Don't forget, this is a 4-time champion. I'll take that place. The next 4 guys all clock in relatively close together. I want to sort of lump them together because we all feel kind of the same way about these guys. Lourdes Gurriel, AJ Pollock, Joey Gallo, Adam Duvall. The highest guy we have I have AJ Pollock at 16, but you guys have him at 33, Jason, and 18 for Mike. That's the one that's interesting, is that AJ Pollock didn't make your top 30, Jason. Why?
He did. He was in there for a little bit, and he was just somebody I had to drop off. I don't know what his playing time is going to be. They did resign Chris Taylor, right? So
yeah, but they don't have Corey Seager anymore. Wouldn't Chris Taylor play second base?
I mean, I hear Gavin Lux is going to play second base. I don't know. I don't know. The Dodgers. That's the thing with the Dodgers is you never know who's going to play where when. And I feel like AJ Pollock is a platoon guy. He's Jock Peterson. He's a platoon guy. I know he's been ravaged by injuries for a few years, and he was healthy and had a nice season this year. I just need to see it again. If he can put up another 20, 25 home run season, sure, I'm in. But right now, I can't see it.
He's got left and center eligibility this year. Mike Haber, how do you feel about AJ?
Yeah, I think he's bought himself a little bit more than a platoon role at this point. I think he's earned it, and he's proven himself to LA. And when healthy, he's a power speed threat that can give you a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he played he had 384 at bats this year. That's not a full season.
No.
He hit 21 home runs. He hit 281 with a 355 on base, an 892 OPS, 69 nice RBIs, 27 doubles. Not a nothing in the stolen base department. I don't know. I don't hate this guy, and yet I'm the high guy on him. I have him at 16. Like, I have him below, a lot of people.
I probably could squeeze him in at number 30 and take out my number 30 guy. Like, that's probably as far as I'd move him up.
We'll see what happens in the future with that.
Yep.
Lourdes Gurriel, 19 for you, Mike, 23 for Jason, 24 for me. I mean, it's really nice, cheap access to the Blue Jays lineup, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's really all it is.
Mike Haber, I will give you Joey Gallo and let you talk about how you feel about Joey Gallo.
Yeah, I think Joey Gallo is due for a nice bounce back. I mean, at this point, anything would be better, right? So you have to assume that. I mean, he's still, the power is still there. Mm-hmm. I want to see what he does with a full season at Yankee Stadium. When he came over, there was a lot of pressure riding on him in Rizzo, mm-hmm. a lot, and he faltered underneath it because playing in Texas and then playing in New York, it's two different animals. So like, give this guy a break, give him a full season hitting in that short porch. I could see 40 home runs.
I could see 50 home runs.
Yeah.
I could see 50 out of this dude. So I'm not going to jump all over him. Is he triple eligible still? Jason, tell me why you're so low on Joey Gallo. Is it the strikeout rate?
He hit $199. He didn't even hit 200.
He also walked 111 times.
I mean, he led the league in
on base percentage with a 199
He led the league in walks
average.
and strikeouts. Yeah, look. At one point, I did have him higher up on the rankings. I don't know what he is. I don't know. Is he the strikeout guy?
Joey Gallo is. I think we know what Joey Gallo is. I think Joey Gallo is a high strikeout, high walk, high home run guy who's going to give you dog shit batting average. But he has every opportunity to hit 40 home runs. And I don't think there's too many people who can give you that.
He's no longer center field eligible. He'll be left and right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. And then the $181 in 2020, which I know was 2020, but that and even that year it was a 301 on base. I don't know. It just worries me.
The weirdest outlier is the 253 batting average in 2019 over 70 games. That's the weird one to me. Did he figure something out there, or was that juice ball?
2019, right?
Probably juice ball. The final one here, Adam Duvall, 20, 21, and 28, respectively, for me, Jason, and Mike. I don't know where he's going to land. I don't know what's going to happen with him. And, I mean, he did well in Miami. He did very well in Atlanta. The final guy on the list that we all have, Jason, I'm going to give you the floor on this one. He's my 26. He's your 25. He's Mike's 22. Mark Canha, new Met.
Yeah. From as a Met fan, I'm really excited to have this guy. I think he brings a lot to the table, and I think he's going to fit in well with this lineup. From a fantasy perspective, he has a high on base. That's great. But the rest of the numbers really didn't stand out to me. In fact, I had him as high, I think it's 12 at one point on my list, and I started really looking at the numbers, and it was they just really don't stand out to me enough, so I had to drop them down. But look, maybe in a better lineup than he had in Oakland, maybe he cracks 70 RBIs, 80 RBIs. So there's potential there. as a Met fan, I'm excited. As a fantasy player, not so much.
I can't blame you. I mean, he's in all of our top 26. He made 26th for me. Mike, you're the high guy at 22. I'll say that his current ADP is 260, which would put him in the 17th round. How you feel about that?
I'd take him in the 17th.
I'll take him in the 17th round.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think this is going to rise as he's seen in a Mets uniform. And
where do you guys see him hitting in the lineup?
Probably 6th.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's where Russell Resource has him right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Nemo and Marte at the top.
Yeah, they have him hitting between Cano and Escobar.
Okay.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, with Eduardo Escobar hitting behind him, he's going to score at least some runs.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
he'll be able to get to drive in some runs from the 6th hole. Like, I like that spot for him.
Yeah.
And if we have some like catastrophic fucking injury plagued season again, he can hit lead off. Like,
yes,
he can do it.
Yeah.
He is losing his first base eligibility, but he still has all 3 outfield. So there is that going for him.
Right. And that's kind of a selling point for him. He's in this group of guys that I have here that I'll tell you guys about in a moment. But all right, that concludes all of the people that we agree upon. Now we've got some names that maybe 2 of us had and 1 didn't, or only 1 of us had. The first one off the top, Jason Ashby does not have Robbie Grossman. Mike, he's your 15. He's my 19.
Wow.
Robbie Grossman is getting no love from Jason. Tell me why. Because he's gross, man?
He's gross. Yeah, I mean, talk about coming out of nowhere. Like, as a 31-year-old, like, yeah, I mean, a 20. I discounted the fact that he had 20 steals, but like, where did this come from? Like, did he find the fountain of youth? Like,
Detroit found something in this guy. Detroit went out and signed this guy during last offseason, and we were all like, "Oh, okay, it's Robbie Grossman. He didn't get enough time in Oakland. Like, what makes us think that he's going to be any good? Because he had never been this good." But a walk machine this year, 23 homers and 20 steals. Like,
I mean, I know
he's Randy Arozarena essentially.
He did kill me a few. I think it was Frank, I think that had him at one point, and he murdered me. But I can't buy it unless I see it again. Like, show me again in 2022 something similar, and then you're in my top 30. But right now, no. Gotcha.
Mike Haber, what does this gentleman have to do to get into your top 30? Jason, he's your number 16. My 23. I mean, Mike, you traded for this guy. What's wrong with Alex Verdugo?
Oh, Verdugo?
Yeah, what's wrong with Alex Verdugo?
For all the drama that Alex Verdugo caused last season, which you guys know was a lot. Yes. He was a bench player for me. He was a fill-in bench player for me. He's the type of guy, and I said this last year on the show, he can't carry you any week. He can provide a couple of hits here and there. He has a little bit of pop, not as much as what he was advertised. Sure, yeah, he's gonna score runs. He is. And he could hit for a decent average, get on base, but the power and speed is not what I'm looking for a starting outfielder on my fantasy team.
Jason, I have to say I kind of like Verdugo. The triple outfield eligibility remains here this coming year. That lineup is not going to get worse. It's only going to get better as Bobby Dahlbeck figures it out, as Jarren Duran figures it out, as they bring in Jackie Bradley Jr. for whatever ridiculous reason. He's going to hit right in the middle of this lineup. And as a lefty, you love a lefty in Fenway. He's got the pesky pole. So how do we explain to Mike that this is a good baseball player?
I mean, I think he is. Look, he can do everything. He runs, he hits, he's gonna score runs. And he's only 26.
That's it.
Like, he's still so young, and like 26 could be the season for him. So high expectations, but I think he can meet them.
I know Mike Haber will have no piece of Alex Verdugo in 2022. Jason, he's currently going at 152nd off the board, which would put him in the middle of the 10th round.
I could be coerced. I probably would have to wait a couple more rounds.
I think I'm okay with that. I think I'm okay with the 10th round. I can live with that. Next guy, Jason, you and I have number 27 for me, number 18 for you. Mike Haber, no Andrew Benintendi love in 2022.
No, another streaky player on the Royals who, he got really hot in the middle of this season, and I think it kind of like inflated his numbers a little bit. Around that hot streak, I don't think there was much going on with Benintendi, and for me, I see him as this like highly touted prospect that failed, that just never lived up to expectations. And I feel like this is his ceiling, what he did last season.
His ceiling is 17 homers, 73 RBIs, a 276 batting average with a 324 on base. The on base isn't as good as you would like. He had basically two really good months, May and September, 340 and 342 batting averages respectively. Everything else 262 or lower. Jason, what do you like about Benintendi?
Again, I'm going to go with youth. He's going to be 27. He's hitting he's playing in Kansas City where there's really no expectations. There's no pressure. I think he can just go out and play. He's going to get everyday playing time here. And I don't think the Royals are going to be terrible. So like, I can see. I don't think this is his ceiling. I don't know that he'll ever reach the expectation that was set for him as a prospect. But I think he's worth drafting for sure.
Whit Merrifield, Nicky Lopez, Sal Perez, him, and then Bobby Witt is how the lineup shakes out for roster resource. He's currently being drafted 210th overall. That's the middle of the 14th round in the bigs. Mike Haber still nothing?
I don't think I would take him as my starting left fielder now.
Austin Hayes is apparently a guy Jason really enjoys at 22. I have him at 28. Orioles. Maybe he hits, maybe he doesn't. The last one, I really want to hear Mike's take on why he doesn't have this guy. Oh. He's my number 31. He's Jason's number 32. He was just outside on the bubble. Mike, I just really need to understand your relationship with Wil Myers.
That's a funny sentence. My relationship with Wil Myers.
Yes.
This is a guy who like historically killed me in fantasy baseball. And I think I've made that pretty clear in the past. But I think he kind of fell off the face of the earth, but like so did all of San Diego last year. So I don't have a ton of faith in where he hits in the lineup. I don't have a ton of faith in like a lot of hitters in San Diego after last year, like Tommy Pham and Wil Myers and Eric Hosmer. Like I don't love the middle part of that lineup as much as a lot of people do. So I don't know. I think there's something missing for me on Wil Myers.
He's hit 17 home runs, 63 RBIs, a 256 batting average, a 334 on base. All of these are like pretty low for what we've come to expect from Wil Myers. He's now 31 years old. He's being drafted 279 overall. That puts him in the 18th round. Jason, what do you like about Wil Myers?
The only thing I can see for him is, maybe now he's the DH for San Diego. So, again, getting him out of the field. Because I don't really know that there's another, sure thing for a DH in San Diego unless they're gonna, move him around. But
maybe Tatis.
Look, he played 146 games. So like, because I know health had been kind of an issue for him. Played 146 games, almost 500 at bats. Like, I think there's something left for him. I don't, 17th round for me is is perfect. If he's in the 17th round, I might take a flyer on him.
Yeah, I think so
Yeah.
too.
I think so too. He's only left and right eligible though. He lost first base and center field.
Okay. Now some guys that you two agree on that I don't. First is Josh Bell. I have to admit I didn't know Josh Bell would have left field eligibility, so that's the only reason he's not on this list for me. So we'll just go like that with it. Chris Taylor, 19th for you, Jason, 24th for Mike. Why don't I have Chris Taylor on my list? I don't like the strikeout rate, and I didn't necessarily enjoy the idea of him going in LA. Now that he's coming back to LA, that's cool. I still don't like the strikeout rate. 167 strikeouts in 148 games. I'm not really big on that. If you're going to tell me he's going to be a poor man's Randy Arose or a poor man's, who was the other guy that we were just talking about, 2020, Grossman, you're going to tell me he's going to put up Robbie Grossman numbers with a higher strikeout rate? I suppose, but then you're also going to tell me that Chris Taylor is going to command 159th pick overall. That's the 10th round. I'm not doing that. I'm not paying the same price I would for Dylan Carlson or Alex Verdugo. I don't think that's this type of guy. Now, I could put him inside my top 30. I think I probably should, but he's not gonna stay there. The only other one is Dylan Carlson, and Dylan Carlson's another one. I just want to see it again. 100. It's the same spot with Chris Taylor. Like I need to see one more of this guy because I just get the feeling like one of Dylan Carlson, Tyler O'Neill is going to bust. And that's fine if one of them does. Carlson, 266, 18 homers, 65 RBIs in 149 games. Again, a strikeout rate that's not great. It's about a strikeout a game.
I'll be honest. I didn't realize he was eligible for left field. So like Bell, you miss Bell, I miss Carlson.
Yeah. Now the guys that only one of us have, and this is the interesting part because we all have like at least one or two guys that the other two do not have at all. Let's go to Mike first. Eddie Rosario at 29.
Yeah, I mean, is he going back to the Braves?
He's a free agent.
He hasn't signed yet. Yeah.
So it depends where he goes and if he gets starting, if he gets playing time. But it's a guy that proved that he can do it year in and year out, and he's kind of an under the radar guy that like you look up at the stats and you're like, wait a second, when did this guy hit 30 home runs and drive in 90? That happened like in previous
in 2019.
years too. Yeah,
2019. That's the only time he's hit 30 home runs and had more than 78 RBIs.
Yeah,
in the juice ball 2019 era. He had 276. He wasn't great in 2020. 13 homers is nice. 257 batting average. 2021, 259 with 14 homers in limited playing time in Cleveland and Atlanta. I think, if he does get a full-time playing gig, I think I'll put him in there too. Jason?
I'm with you. I just, not knowing where he was going to end up, because he could end up somewhere like, Boston or Los Angeles where they have a million outfielders and he gets no playing time, and that doesn't do it for me. So if he ends up somewhere where he's going to play, then that's a different story. But right now I couldn't bet on that.
Mike, you love yourself some Raimel Tapia, top 25 for you? Jason, you're in Colorado. What do you think of this kid?
He has a potential. I'll tell you, he's electric. He's
Woogie.
Yes, he's electric. Right. But the 20 steals, it was nice. Again, I want to see what he can do. I mean, he 133 games. I know he missed some time with injury. This is kind of his first full-time gig, I think. Give me one more season of him. If he can put up a really good season, then I'm in on him. I just don't know yet.
I mean, I don't see anything special here. 273 batting average is fine.
Yeah.
327 on base percentage is fine. 20 steals, okay, if he's got playing time, because roster resource doesn't even have him in the starting lineup. The left fielder is Connor Joe. The center fielder is Sam Hilliard. And the right fielder is Charlie Blackmon. Now, I know Sam Hilliard's a busted prospect, but what if Tapia is too? Like, there've just been so many bad fucking guys coming out of Colorado, Mike.
Yeah, it's true. But the fact that he is a hitter in Colorado it gives you the other side of it too. Like, if this is a leadoff hitter for the Rockies, he can score 100 runs. He can steal 30 bases. Like, I like the upside here.
292 batting average, 345 on base percentage. All 6 of his home runs were at home. 39 of his 50 RBIs were at home. He had more steals on the road. Whoopty shit. Doubled the number of doubles. Doubled the number of runs scored. All of his triples and all of his home runs were hit at home. So
where
he's a
you have
bench
him?
bat that you could put into the lineup when he's at home. Cool, I like it. But let's see
Where's he
in your
ranking?
Mine? He's not.
No, Mike.
25.
25. Okay.
He's currently going 271, which would put him in the 17th.
I would take a flyer on him. Yeah, I would take him as a flyer there. Yeah.
Mike, Brandon Nimmo. Jason, I'm kind of surprised neither of us had him on the list.
I am too. Where's he playing? Like,
left field.
Is Martinez gonna play right field?
Yeah.
Because actually, Russell Resource has it the other way around. Has Nimmo in right field, but
okay. Either way,
he's eligible. Yeah. Look, I love me some Brandon Nimmo. He helped me out big time in the season after he came back from injury. It's the injury scare to me. Like, I need to see a full season from him to know that he is what we know he can be. So if he can come out this year and give us 150 games, great.
Yeah, that would be terrific because he's never played. Yeah. He played 140 in 2018.
Yeah, that's it.
He
never played 100. He never played more than 100 other than that. So, yeah, let me see a good full season from him, and then I'm in.
All right, last one that Mike Haber has that neither of us do, Jason. Mike Haber, defend yourself. Akil Baddoo at 13.
Akil Baddoo at 13.
13. Woo!
Yeah. He has Akil Baddoo over Austin Meadows, over Robbie Grossman, Michael Brantley. Wild. Akil Baddoo.
He's got power speed combo. This was
poor man's Randy Arozarena.
But this was his first season, right?
13.
If he has a Cedric Mullins type season though, because he was the poor man Cedric Mullins.
He was.
Wouldn't that? Is it out of the realm of possibility? No. Can he go 20
in the lineup is nice.
25 and hit 280?
If he does 25, that'll be pretty goddamn astounding. And that means the Tigers probably fight for a wild card. Because, like, you're then telling me that Grossman's hitting second, Baez third, Candelario is behind him. Like, those dudes are driving him in 100 times for that. And if he goes 2020, that would be amazing.
I tell you what, I did have him in there at one point in my permutations, but I need to see it again. I can't buy in on it just yet.
But you can buy in Luis Arraez at 31.
Luis Arraez, yeah, you know what? He's in my just missed just outside my top 30. And I wanted to get him in because he was so good for me before I dealt him away. But
he's gonna be the leadoff hitter apparently in Minnesota. That's something.
The Twins don't excite me at all. So, yeah.
What about Andrew McCutchen at 30?
Yeah, he's somebody who that's how I would get AJ Pollock or Robbie Grossman in was to get McCutchen out. But the 27 home runs and the 80 RBIs really opened my eyes to McCutchen. Like his 222 average wasn't great. But he was he was healthy, and I was surprised that the Phillies dumped him, honestly. But I'm
not. It's to a point now. McCutchen needs to be DH, and that's about it. He's got a great eye at the plate to get on base, and has a bit of pop in the bat, but there's no batting average left, and it's been steadily declining since 2015, was the last year he was decent in that statistic.
So let him DH.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Somebody like the Pirates could come and sign him again and come full circle. That would be interesting, right?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see who else. Jesus Sanchez. Look, I love Jesus Sanchez, but Jason, 20?
Whoa.
Yeah, I why not? In the Marlins lineup, he's gonna be the guy in the Marlins lineup. Like, and their lineup is not terrible anymore with Avisail Garcia and look, maybe this is a Baddoo kind of thing where I should want to have to see it again, but I think he's a little more touted than a guy like Baddoo is, and I think he's gonna. I like what I've seen from him, so I have high expectations for him.
He's actually going in the NFBC ahead of Mark Canha. He goes in the 15th round.
Yeah, I would take him in the 15th.
I probably would too, but I'd have to see what's left. In Hap at 17?
Yeah, because he's gonna get the playing time now. Now that the Cubs have sold everybody off, he's gonna get playing time somewhere. And I feel like with playing time, he hit 25 home runs last year. Like, he could hit 30, so the average isn't great, and he's not gonna drive in runs or score many runs because the Cubs suck. And he sold 9 bases, so maybe he gets 30 and double-digit steals. I buy in on that, and he's got eligibility in places. So yeah, I'm good with Ian Happ.
Ian Happ going 192 in the NFBC. That's 12th round.
Maybe a little too early for me, but I could be coerced.
That'll do it for Jason's that he had that nobody else did. I have Jeff McNeil. I don't want to talk about him. He's probably going to fall out. I had Tommy Pham as well, and I didn't realize how bad a season Tommy Pham had. So he's probably gone for me. He's going in like the 18th round of NFBC drafts. Mike Ustremski also had a really bad year. I think I got to move that guy down.
I don't think he even still qualifies for left field.
That'll be interesting if he doesn't.
I looked.
We'll drop him even further down.
Yeah, he gets right field and center field.
All right, so he comes out of my ranking.
Can I ask you about Michael Brantley? Because did you guys have him on your list? Because we didn't.
I did. About him. Yes, I have him on my list.
I must have skipped over him. He comes right after Christian Yelich at 13.6. I have him at 11. Jason, you're at 14. Mike's at 16. And I like him in Houston's lineup. So
cool.
Yeah. He just needs to stay healthy.
Yeah.
So McNeil, Pham, Ustremski, Andrew Vaughan. Did you guys not like Andrew Vaughan?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
That's the rookie I want to get in on, not Akil Baddoo. I want in on this.
235 average, 309 on base. Yeah. He could go off and do great things. I had him for a spell in the bigs this year, and
I know I traded him to you.
Yeah, and one of the many regrets of my 2021 season.
His price is not as low as I would have expected, though. He's getting drafted ahead of a lot of the guys we just talked about, including Michael Brantley.
Wow.
He's going 223 overall in 39 drafts. That's the end of the 14th round. I don't think I want in on that.
With Eloy and Luis Robert back, does this guy get everyday at bats?
Well, Roster Resource has him on the bench over Gavin Sheets against the right-hander. So it seems like there's going to be a platoon there.
That's what would concern me.
Yeah, I would probably move him down if that was the case. I could see this dude being the DH or spelling Jose Abreu. So
yeah,
we still don't believe in Adolis Garcia, do we?
Oh shit! Wait, he's left field?
Yeah, he's got left field eligibility. I think maybe. Yeah, he started 8 games there, so he will have eligibility there.
Oh shit!
So, all right. No, I don't.
The 43 average, 31 homers, 90 RBIs. We know how bad
200 strikeouts. Like
we know how bad he was in the second half.
Yeah.
211 batting average with 9 homers. So like,
I mean,
he's
maybe
very
I take
bad.
him over. Maybe I take him over McCutchen, but like
I had him at 21, right ahead of Vaughan for Dugo. I don't know. Maybe.
we
I
haven't
like
touched.
Go ahead,
Go ahead.
Jason.
No, I was gonna say we haven't touched on my 29 yet.
Mm-hmm. Did I think who is it?
Is Adam Frazier.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even grab that one because we
Yeah.
talked about him in the second base pod. And he's since changed locations. We talked about that as well when he did get traded, and we talked about like landing in Seattle. I like it better. But like Mike Haber says, he's a slap hitter, good average, but you're not getting a whole lot more. And
they have him hitting the top of the order. You know, he's gonna score 90 runs.
Dallas Garcia is set to hit right behind Corey Seager.
I forgot this was a person who played left fields. That's why he's not on my list.
Gotcha. And there you go. Now we've added another one to everybody's list. Let's talk about sleepers, breakouts, and busts and get out of here. Let's talk about the sleeper, a guy that you can take outside of your top 20 that'll probably return top 10 value. Jason Ashby, I will start with you.
I'm going to talk about a guy who's not even on my top 30, and that's Lane Thomas. In Washington, I had scooped him up in the bigs at the end of last season, and he really opened my eyes. And now he's going to get all the playing time in Washington with no expectations. He's a top prospect. I could see a 2020 season from him or something like that. So I'm going. My sleeper pick is going to be Lane Thomas.
Interesting. I like it.
Sorry, Mike.
Mike Haber, you were disappointed in that pick. Do you have another one, or would you like to piggyback on that?
No, I'll pull another one out. I'm gonna go with a guy who was up there with like in the top 5 prospects going into this year and had a horrible season. We'll go Jared Kelenic.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
I could see him, coming closer to projections this year and starting to figure some things out.
Kelenic right now is going at 134 in drafts. That's the middle of the 9th.
Oh.
Do we see him going that early in the bigs? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I might jump on that if that's what it would take.
In the 9th, you would take him?
I would do it if I had to, because he was probably going to be my breakout candidate, but I'll go ahead and drop that. My sleeper here, just looking over this, there's a lot of really good names I have way toward the bottom. I'd love to get in on Joe Adell again. I think full-time playing time for that dude could be just what he's missing. Know if Garrett Cooper still has left field eligibility, but he's a guy I would like to see in the Marlins lineup. But my crush here, really Rafael Ortega is an interesting piece too at the top of the lineup.
Yeah, that's
true. Where
true.
did he go?
Pablo Lopez is a pitcher, Joe.
Oh, that's right. Well, shit. I don't know. I like those guys. Maybe Tyler Naquin. Naquin's a decent name too. Let's go to the breakout, a guy inside the top 20 that'll return top 5 value. Jason, let's start with you on that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jesus Sanchez. I think he's a full season out of him in Miami. Who I think they're gonna be more competitive than we are used to. Hitting in the middle of that lineup every day, he could give you 30 home runs. Absolutely.
Yeah, I like it. Mike Haber, your breakout.
I gotta Badoo it. Akil Badoo. Akil Badoo.
You killed it.
I did Akil it.
You're a killing me. I do have to say I absolutely love me some Eloy Jimenez. I think this could be like a top 5 picks next year if he goes the Arenado route of 300 batting average, 40 home runs, 100 RBIs, 100 runs scored, and a really good on base percentage. Like, that could be it. However, it's very difficult for me to say that because he's not really a breakout candidate since I haven't been one. I guess Ryan Mountcastle would be a nice bet there. I have him at 13, and Jason's got him at 21. If he could put up the Trey Mancini season from 2019 that we saw in 2021 from him, he could do that again with Cedric Mullins in front of him, get even competent major league bats behind him rather than literal nobodies like Ruben Odor. Maybe we'll see something. Mm-hmm. Bust player Jason Ashby, who's busting.
I'm going to Randy Arozarena. I look, the power speed combo is there, and maybe it's great, but I'm not sold on him, and I feel like I don't know what you're showing as the ADP right now, but I'm sure it's pretty high, and I think I can see a lot of people being disappointed with him. He's kind of on my avoid list.
Interesting. His current ADP is 57. That puts him in the 4th round.
Yeah, I can't do it in the 4th round.
I can't.
Gotcha. Mike Haber, what do you got for a bust?
Well, I spoke earlier to the JD Martinez point, but I'm actually I have him ranked 10th, but I'm actually gonna go to Marcelo Zuna. I could see why he would be ranked 7th on my list because of what he did in the past, but I could also see him hitting 220, hitting 5 home runs, and then being like, a phantom injury popping up and he's just like out for the season. Mm-hmm. I could see both of those things happening. So
yeah, I could see that as well. You know what else I could see? I could see Jesse Winker being a fall from grace here.
Mm-hmm.
The Cincinnati Reds are not going to be better than they were last year, and last year they weren't good. We're getting another year of Joey Votto around him. Their lineup, look, we've talked about this. Jonathan India is not the second coming of Joe Morgan. Like, that's not what we've got here. After Winker and Votto, it's Eugenio Suarez and his 160 batting average, Tyler Naquin, Tyler Stevenson, Kyle Farmer, and whatever a TJ Friedel is. That's the lineup. Ew. No. Pass. Comeback player of the year, Jason Ashby, comeback player for this position.
You all shit on me for where I put him in the rankings, but Christian Yelich, this is why I put him so low, because look, he is still Christian Yelich, and maybe he can, if he's healthy, if he can put up a Christian Yelich season that we're used to, then he moves up my rankings. But right now, I just need to see that happen. But I can see him, having a good comeback year.
Mike Haber, did he take yours? I feel like he took all of ours.
He did.
Christian Yelich, for the record, is going 104th overall in NFBC drafts. That's the middle of the 7th. I think I would stab somebody in order to get him in the 7th.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you have a second comeback? Because I do.
Yeah, I got someone I could throw in there. Okay. A fun name. Let's throw Trent Grisham in there.
Interesting.
I could see him if he is hitting atop the Padres lineup and they have some sort of, bounce back season, at which they should as an offense, at least the top of their lineup. I could see him, pressing for double digits in homers and steals and getting a good amount of runs as well.
He's an interesting cat. I mean, I remember when he got sent over from Milwaukee after the error that cost them the wild card game, and I thought, maybe a fresh start will be good for him. But he hasn't really taken that step forward that I think we were expecting. The 2020 season was good, 10 homers, but didn't he have a 3-homer game and a 2-homer game or something? So great, you beat up on one shit pitcher twice. 15 homers and 13 steals in 132 games. Cool. I don't know. Where's he expected to hit for San Diego? If it's leadoff, great. And it is. All right, you're in front of Tatis. You'll get a little bump for me. I do kind of like that pick. My comeback is a guy who played 40 games this past year, and I don't give a shit. I'm still putting him at 1. Eloy Jimenez, bank on it, gets MVP votes in 2022. That's my hot take.
All right.
Boys, this has been tremendous, and I can't believe it took us over an hour and a half with all of the false starts that we had in the beginning, but I appreciate you sticking through it with me. Jason Ashby, thank you so much for being here.
Joe, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure talking baseball with you guys.
Mike Haber, you're still the only Yankee fan, but I still don't like what you did with Brian Reynolds.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
That's a way to close the show.
Yeah, I don't know if that was your send off or but yeah, no, thank you again for having me. This was a lot of fun and super weird position, but I think we killed it.
Yeah. It is a weird position. You're either gonna feel like you need to get it early on in the draft, or that you'll just take whatever's left at the end. That's kind of how I feel. I don't feel like there's a big glom where I'm gonna pick from.
Yeah. Great.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for being here. And if you're not subscribed to this YouTube channel, go ahead and hit that red button there and click that bell to let you know every time we upload a video. For those of you listening to the audio on Spotify or Stitcher or Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts or any one of a dozen other platforms in which we are, thank you so much. Share this with your league mates. Let's get this conversation started and see who's the most crazy at their number one position. Follow us on TikTok. You guys are going to see some of the bloopers from tonight go up there. And follow us on Instagram. I post those bloopers as well there. Again, thank you guys so much. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. Until next time, it's been real. It's been fun. It is always real fun in the bigs. We'll see you next time.